So we'll get going here in just a moment. What do we have today? Wednesday the 2nd. So I was going to actually take a trip this week, but I ended up changing plans because things became too complicated for me, and so I had to change plans. But so for that reason, I am still going to take off this Saturday for the CW Jaw Talk show. Here come my cats. I'm going to go ahead and take this Saturday off and go back through some of the earlier shows that I've done, the first 7. And then, sometimes I talk about different things in these shows. And so I can peel off certain clips on topics that might be helpful, but that I didn't intend to talk about, I just ended up talking about. So I'm going to go back through the first 7 shows, and I'm going to see what else I can get from those 7 shows that I talked about, but maybe didn't plan on talking about, and then see how many additional clips I can get that would be helpful to people. And then the following Saturday, so what would that be? That would be, I guess the 12th, Saturday the 12th. We'll be back and doing our regular CW Jaw Talk shows. And I've got a couple great messages planned, so we got a few things coming up early in this year. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the text. I'm going to close my door real quickly. I have my daughter has some friends over, and so I don't want to wake them up. Yesterday they said they could hear me in the morning, which is fine. I did leave the door open a little, and so that's okay. But nonetheless, I want to try to keep it so they're not disturbed. I am up early doing these day texts because I'm an early riser, and I know there's a lot of people around the earth who have different time zones. So I think the 5 o'clock time is still good. So we'll keep it for now. All right. Looks like we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and start today's day text. So here we go. Good morning, and thank you for joining me. My name is Greg Stafford, and these are day text shows that I host every weekday morning at 5 a.m., unless otherwise scheduled, where people around the earth can come together and consider a portion of the biblical record or other related histories or ancient sources of knowledge and wisdom that we can benefit from, share with each other, and use throughout our day, hence day texts. Or if you're watching the video in the evening, then you can go to sleep with the information, wake up and use it until the next video, or however it works best for you. So we are in the book of 1 Timothy. It's a letter written by one of the first century Christians, Paul, to a young Greek Christian who Paul was able to use and work with in many ways to help the developing Christian congregations. And so this is what is considered his first letter to Timothy. If you want more information about Timothy, the letter itself, and the transmission history of the document, go back to the first video in this series on 1 Timothy, where I provide a little bit more information. Okay, the day texts today come from chapter 5, and I'm going to group together verses 1 and 2, and verses 17 and 18. So chapter 5, 1 and 2, and then 17 and 18. And I think you'll see why I group them together in this way. Okay, verse 1. You should not attempt to discipline an older man. Rather, encourage him as a father. Now, how would you talk to your father if he made a mistake? Would you try to discipline him like a son? Or would you try to encourage him because you care for him and you want him to do it right? Okay, let's read the next verse. Verse 2. Encourage older women as mothers. Encourage younger women as sisters in every morally acceptable way. Isn't the Bible really cool? I mean, look at the way it talks about people. Don't discipline an older man. Encourage him as a father. Oh, and I forgot the last part of verse 1. Encourage younger men as brothers. And then verse 2, encourage older women as mothers. Younger women as sisters. See, that's what I mean by the Bible is really cool, right? I mean, it helps us to have such a simple but beneficial view of other people In this case, older men, older women, younger women. If we practice this, we will be able to create a very loving and orderly group of people who really care for one another and who want to serve God and Jesus and do the right things, help other people, like I mentioned. Okay, and this ties in with verses 17 and 18. Let me read those. Okay, so he talked about older men, older women, younger men, younger women. Now let's see here. He's talking about non-family people, spiritually related. But in verse 17 he says, the elders who have been caring for or managing, is another way you could translate that, things in a fine way must be counted worthy of twice as much respect, or double honor, you could translate. Most of all, those who are working hard with the message and with teaching. For the sacred writing says, he's quoting the Hebrew scriptures, in this case Deuteronomy, you will not restrain a threshing ox. Also, the worker is deserving of his wage. In other words, you can't hold back a bull who's threshing, right? You get out of the way. And when someone does a job or works hard, they expect to be paid, right? Well, it's not talking about money here necessarily. I mean, there are times when Christians, and even in the biblical records, we read about some who were supported by others because they didn't have any means by which to continue, and everyone recognized that they were doing the things that they should be doing, and so they helped them. And of course, they helped the poor and those who were without the things they needed. But here it's talking about giving, it quotes a text about the worker being deserving of his wage in relation to the elders who are managing things in a fine way, and most of all, those who are working hard with the message and with teaching. Okay, so this is not talking about money though, because look at what he says in verse 17. He says right there that those who have been managing things in a fine way, caring for things, the elders, must be counted worthy of twice as much money? No. Twice as much respect. That's your reward. That's your wage. Double honor. So the wage that he's talking about in quoting the text in verse 18, the second text, has to do with respect. The wage, the reward is double honor, double respect. And if that involves helping someone who's in need, because you can see that they're clearly doing what they can and being their circumstances are not allowing them to do everything they could do, maybe you could help out. Each person has to decide to what extent we're going to assist those who are poor and lowly among us. But that should be a priority for us. And for those who are not necessarily poor or lowly in a material way, but who are still working twice as hard, or caring for things and teaching, they should be given twice as much respect. Now, I don't know that that's something you can measure, what's one and what's two respects. But I think we all get the point, right? That we should be showing the people who are taking the lead among us in doing these kinds of things, helping manage and care for others, and who are taking the lead in teaching. The least we can do is give them double respect, double honor, right? Because they're doing double duty. They're doing their own life, working, supporting a family, or taking care of themselves in ways they need to in order to continue. And they're also helping the congregation, the Christians throughout the world, to proclaim the message. So that's what he's talking about here. And that's the double respect. That's the double honor. It's not about elevating someone above you, like some religious groups do in ways where they essentially venerate a person whom they've come to respect because of what they've done, whether it's the Pope or Billy Graham or whomever. I'm not saying those are venerated in the same way, but my point is, if we're not careful, we can try to fulfill this text, but end up doing something totally different by not giving a person who's taking the lead in teaching the kind of respect and honor that's really being talked about here. And that is by assisting those people in the ways that they need so that they can continue to proclaim the message. Just look at Paul. Look at the others in the first century who took the lead in teaching and in helping manage the affairs of the new Christian congregation. And so these are our examples, along with Jesus, that we can use to show what we should be doing. And then in our own time and area, we can see what the needs are and apply the things that we've learned from them. Okay, so I thought that was a good grouping today to consider. I think the way the Bible talks about treating others is perfect, right? Who wouldn't think that's a good way to treat older men, older women, younger men, younger women, and then those who are taking the lead in managing and in teaching. So just a few simple verses that help remind us of the ways we can interact with other humans, show respect, show double respect to those who deserve it, and treat others the way we want to be treated, or the way that they should be treated based on who they are, whether it's a mother, a sister, a brother, or a father. So, good things for us today. I'll go ahead and embed the text with the video, and then I'll post it here in just a bit. And then we'll be back tomorrow, Thursday the 3rd, January 3rd, 2019, new year for us. And every day is a new day. You should look at each day as a new opportunity for you to accomplish a wide variety of things, or just one thing, if that's all you have time to do. But pick it, do it, fulfill it to the greatest extent possible. And in that way, you're working and worshiping whole-souled as to Jah, which is what Jesus taught us to do. So do your best in everything and in every way. And if you can help others to achieve the things that they're setting out to do, especially if they relate to the great message, help them. Promote the things that are being taught so that other people can benefit in the same way. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. I really like our time together in the morning because it gets me going, and I hope that it provides you with some encouragement that you can use to benefit yourself and others. So I'll see you tomorrow, 5 a.m. Until then, may God bless you. Thank you.